In 1914, Russia entered World War I with confidence. The Russian Empire was one of the largest countries on Earth. It had millions of soldiers, vast territory, and a powerful ruler, Tsar Nicholas II. But just 3 years later, the empire would collapse. The Tsar would lose his throne. The Russian monarchy would disappear, and a revolution would change the course of world history forever. When World War I began in 1914, Russia joined France and Britain against Germany and Austria-Hungary. Russia had a massive army, but size was not enough. Millions of Russian soldiers were sent to the front with inadequate weapons, poor supplies, and limited preparation. Some soldiers even lacked enough rifles. Russia also struggled to provide its army with enough food, ammunition, uniforms, and medical supplies. At the beginning of the war, many Russians believed the conflict would be short. But the war quickly became a nightmare. Thousands of Russian soldiers were killed, wounded, or captured. The defeat exposed serious weaknesses in the Russian military. And as the war continued, the situation became even worse. The war did not only destroy armies, it also destroyed Russia's economy. Millions of men were taken from farms and factories and sent to fight. This created labor shortages, food became more expensive, coal and fuel became harder to find. Railways became overwhelmed because they were being used to transport soldiers and military supplies. But transporting food to cities became increasingly difficult. By 1916 and early 1917, people in Russian cities were waiting in long lines for bread. Workers were angry, families were starving, and soldiers were becoming exhausted. The war had created a crisis that the government could no longer control. But Russia's greatest political problem was the Tsar himself. In 1915, Tsar Nicholas II made a decision that would have disastrous consequences. He personally took command of the Russian army. Nicholas believed that by leading the military, he could improve Russia's performance. Instead, he made himself responsible for every military failure. Whenever the Russian army lost a battle, public anger increasingly turned toward the Tsar. Meanwhile, the government in Petrograd was left under the influence of the Tsarina Alexandra. Because of the Tsar's decision, the monarchy became closely connected to the war. The people were suffering, the army was losing, the economy was collapsing, and more Russians began to believe that the government was incompetent. The war had transformed dissatisfaction into desperation. Then, in February 1917, the crisis exploded. In Petrograd, thousands of workers went on strike. Women protesting food shortages joined the demonstrations. The protests quickly grew larger. At first, the government ordered soldiers to restore order. But something unexpected happened. Many soldiers refused to fire on the protesters. Some even joined them. The Tsar had lost control of the capital. Within days, the government collapsed. On March 15, 1917, according to the modern calendar, Nicholas II abdicated. After more than 3 centuries, the Romanov dynasty had come to an end. The Russian Empire was no more, but the war was not over, and this created an even greater crisis. After the Tsar's abdication, a provisional government took power, but it made one major mistake. It decided to continue fighting World War I. Millions of Russians were still dying. The economy continued to suffer, and the people were becoming increasingly desperate. Then the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, offered a simple message: peace, land, bread. The Bolsheviks promised to end the war, give land to peasants, and provide food to the population. Their message became increasingly popular among soldiers and workers. In October 1917, the Bolsheviks seized power in Petrograd. The Russian Revolution had entered a new and more radical phase. Soon afterward, Lenin's government began negotiations with Germany. In 1918, Russia officially left World War I through the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, but the country would soon fall into a brutal civil war. World War I did not create every problem in Russia. The empire already suffered from poverty, political repression, and deep social inequality, but the war turned those problems into a disaster. It drained Russia's economy, destroyed public confidence, created hunger and unrest, and exposed the weakness of the Tsarist government. In the end, World War I did more than destroy armies. It helped destroy the Russian monarchy itself. And from the chaos of war and revolution, a new power emerged, one that would shape global history for the next century. This was how World War I helped lead to the Russian Revolution. If you enjoyed this video, like the video and subscribe to War Revelation for more stories about the wars, revolutions, and events that changed the world.